something, we will be blue for you. So best wishes and have fun and enjoy your time in South Africa. We also have, I sent you an email. We have a video recorded of a couple of teachers that spoke this morning when the kids came around to say farewell. So we'll play that in a second. And then if they did not make it to your room and you want to say farewell, you can do that once the video is over. And they'll record it and they'll put it on YouTube for you so you can always
You can get it.
I'll be back when the construction's over. Community for so long. I mean, it's gonna be hard. He is not an easily replaceable teacher. That's the good thing. Africa is gonna shoot him up and stick him.
Look out for that elephant, Bennett.
Well, I mean, it's definitely bittersweet. I'm excited for him and his family to be moving on and pursuing their dreams and goals. That's something living abroad has been something that's been a part of their lives and something they've wanted to do for a very long time. So I can understand, but it's also very sad. But I think what I'm trying to focus on and reflect on is that Mr. Bennett he's the real deal. I mean, when you see a teacher that has passion as he does for his profession, for his subject area, when you see a teacher going out of their way to make extra phone calls or meeting with students to make sure they're okay and remain on track, and even students that you think sometimes, you've given 10 chances, like Mr. Bennett is always there with that 11th chance. And you know what? He's kind of like our 12th man. I mean, he really is. Like he's very innovative. He comes with the ideas. It's like when we think things are just over and they're not going to work out, he's the one that is like, hey guys, like, no, let's go for it. Let's push one more time. And even today, like he's teaching, and I mean, it's like, he's out the door in 3 hours, and he's like, okay, we got to get this one last essay in or whatever. So I think people like that are very rare. They're very rare. When you see kids floating their class on the last day, I saw one of our former students yesterday, and I told him, Mr. Bennett's last day is tomorrow, and he was here this morning at 7 a.m. just to say goodbye to Mr. Bennett. And I think that speaks to someone's character and his integrity, and you can't put a price on relationships and how people feel about you. And I think that we've done or tried to do a good job of telling Mr. Bennett how much he means to us, and I think the kids have done the same. But I seeing what happened today with the juniors and the seniors and how they have just flooded him with love, and just, the room was packed, you couldn't even get in. I was like, are we charging admission? Like, you are, and that you've made it. You've made a difference in someone's life. And I'll tell anyone, education is, we're here to plant seeds, and sometimes we see them grow, and sometimes we don't. It may be another 30 years before it really clicks in with a student what we're trying to do. But today I saw it. I saw every single one of those kids through Mr. Bennett's eyes, and it was beautiful. It was glorious. It just reminds me of why we're here and why we do what we do. And so yeah, there's I think when other kids grow up and they reflect, and everyone's like, who was your favorite teacher? And you sign up for a new password, and you gotta write who's your favorite teacher. And he's one of my favorite teachers. teachers. I feel like I've learned so much from him, and it's just been amazing. I could go on and on. But yeah, he's definitely gonna be missed. He'll go in history with Hillsborough High School. He'll be like a litterer, a Gene litterer. Can't replace him. Love you.
I'm gonna miss you and your leadership at the school, and I just want you to know that you're a believer in teacher, Hillsborough High School, World Teacher of the Year, for infinity. No matter what all those competitions say, you know less. Have a great time, so.
We're gonna miss Mr. Bennett a ton. For sure, I'm gonna miss him a ton because we work together on so many different things, and I think we share a lot of the same perspectives on what makes a school a good place, a program a good program, and I've learned so much from being his colleague, and it's gonna be a bummer. I think we share a lot of the same perspectives on what makes a school a good place, a program a good program, and I've learned so much from being his colleague, and it's gonna be a bummer.
Like to share. The girls in the back, they're gonna record, and then Miss Merrick is gonna make it one YouTube video for me. So anybody
Or Mr. Bennett, you have words now.
I feel like I have to keep filling the bucket of emotions because they just come pouring out every time I start talking to people. I don't know if you felt the same way joining the academy that I did, but it is incredibly intimidating to walk into a room full of such talent and expertise, and 3 years ago coming to the academy, 5 years ago coming to the school, I really felt like I was in over my head. Looking around at the wonderful instruction that was going on, the way the kids reacted to the teachers. Beavers and I came here, and I think after the first week we looked at each other and we're like, okay, this is the real deal. This isn't like JT Moore, we can just mail it in. Like, you actually have to show up and teach your pants off because everybody else is doing that, and you don't want to be the weak link. I think some of the stuff that we deal with often overshadows the people behind who we're doing it for. And I feel incredibly privileged to have had a looping experience that has brought me up with these kids. I will be a lifelong advocate for that. Because when you have kids for just 1 year and you're like one and done, like, you don't get to experience, like Dr. Reese was saying, the results, and you don't always get to see the growth and the maturity, and that's been the most rewarding part for me in all of this in the past 5 years, is seeing who they've become, from the braces and the cargo shorts and the middle school hoodies to like the young people applying to great schools with direction and purpose. That's just crazy. I wish we were in a place that was more conducive to looping, because moving from freshman to sophomore to junior to senior, like, I downplay my role in that as much as I think I was a witness to it. I don't think I did as much as I get credit for, but I think I was just there all along, just watching. And so I thank all of you. I mean, every single one of you helped me, pushed me, loved on me when I wasn't lovable. and forgave me when I sent emails I shouldn't have sent. I appreciate my time here, and I learned so much, and I grew so much, and I was inspired every single day by everybody around me. I'm really sad to be leaving because as happy as I am to go, this place is community. And I was just talking about it with the kids, like Hillsborough has this reputation in the community, and I just wish they could see a tenth of what the actual community is like here. Our arts participate and win awards at the highest levels. Our athletics are perennially in the state championships. Theater department, academics, YIG, MUN, all of it is done at the highest levels. And you look at these schools with an infinite number of resources compared to ours. And we hold our own. That's incredibly special. And it's because of this, the people, you guys. I feel incredibly fortunate and blessed and grateful to have been a part of it for 5 years. I wish it was longer. I wish there was more time. You guys do outstanding work, and I'm proud to have been a part of it. Please come visit us.
I'm there, you know.
Please come visit us. I think we have a special video tribute from Will Pinkston coming up.
Excellent, thank you. I can't wait. I can't wait.
I'll play it for you. I'll just act it out.
Becky Sharp and Terry Patton want me to do my exit interview with Dr. Joseph on Monday, so.
I'm sure we'll make time for that.
I'm gonna make sure I get my last check first.
Yeah.
That was today. So thank you.
Flashing that.
I'll see you. See y'all in May.
Yay. Arterberry, you're up
What?
with a reflection.
I've known Scott, I don't know, I guess about 10 years. Worked with him as a teacher. We didn't work, we were on different teams, but down to middle school level. I was fortunate enough when I came to Hillsborough as a freshman principal. First year I was here, I was at a meeting at the Martin Center, AP meeting, I guess. Saw him over there. He's like, Arterberry, you gotta come get me. Let's see what I can do. And so talked to Dr. Schrader and worked it out to where I brought Scott over and Paul Beavers to be two of my teachers on the academy, and he worked with Mr. Peach for, I guess, a couple, 3 years, wasn't it, Scott? And you know, needless to say, for those years, we're the best scorers in the district from the freshman level, English 1 level, and it was fascinating to watch Scott and Matthew because they were so different. You know, Matthew's very introverted. You know, you see him in the hall, but you know, he probably don't say 50 words a year. But he's in the classroom. His ears are pinned back. Boy, he's going to town. And then you got Scott's dynamics. They were just different teachers, but they were both exceptional. And so the time came when the IB Academy lost one of their English teachers, and you know, for the greater good, I mean, looking at, and this is like the 11th hour before school started, we approached Scott to see if he would be interested in taking over for that, and that was when Wingfield was here, and he did, and it's a tough assignment, but from a friend, from a colleague, from a principal standpoint, to see him, he was always a great teacher at any capacity, middle school level, freshman, whatever. But when he made the jump to the DP Academy and started teaching, you know, different things like that, I mean, he really, really found that next year and elevated his level of just influence in teaching and just his whole dynamic, his methodology of teaching, his I think even his his beliefs and his ethics of teaching just expanded. And so that's what makes me most proud. Very sad that we're losing him, but he knows he's loved. And I will miss him calling me boss, because he always called me boss for some reason. I don't know. But, you know, but as I wrote the other day in his paper, is, you know, he needs to think about the hundreds and hundreds of lives that he's impacted in a positive manner. And I think that's the measure of a teacher. You know, it's not the pay, because God knows we don't get that. It's certainly not the accolades. You know, all we get as teachers or educators is more and more and more, and, you know, changes in systems and things like that. But, you know, the impact that he's had is just to me, the true measure of what an effective educator is. And these kids will remember him for years and decades to come.
I was making coffee in the office today, and I don't know exactly what the words were, but I will tell you, they were the kids at the table drinking their coffee and eating whatever snacks Marcella had for them at that moment. The message was that you're the best. I didn't know who these girls were, but your name was being discussed. The fact that you're leaving, everybody's sad, but they were discussing that you were the best.
My freshman
The best.
talking about it.
Oh, wow.
You're not gonna get to hang out with he's leaving. So they're freshmen.
They hang on your every word.
And I hear from, you know, parents of their kids that have had Mr. Bennett, and they have younger kids, you know, and they're you know, envious that but they're upset that their last child is not going to have an opportunity to take him. You know, so I mean, he's made his mark, you know, and he's done well, and I think we all would agree of how proud we are. I think it's special here at Hillsborough too. You know, I always tell my teachers, you know, we're a school family. As dysfunctional as we may be at times, we're still a family, and we do care about one another, genuinely care about one another, and I think that's something that is that I've always felt here. You know, good or bad or indifferent, I mean, we're always there to pick up each other, regardless.
I thought Carrie Morgan was going to have a come apart today. She told me I stumbled upon her in the office by accident that morning. I was like, "Are you okay?" I felt like a pet passed away, or a car got wrecked or something. Scott's leaving. I was like, yeah, you will be missed.
And I mean, you're kids' favorite teacher for all the right reasons. Like, you're not their favorite because, like, you let them goof off or it's just, you know, fun and games. Like, you're their favorite because you are an exceptional teacher and you reach kids and you teach them. Like, and I've observed you before, and I thought, like, if I had had you as an English teacher, I might have actually liked English. But I think, I mean, that's such a testament to you that, like, you're teaching them every single day a very difficult subject, and you're their favorite for that very reason.
That's why we have 40 kids that want to run 5 miles a day on the cross-country team. And, I mean, we're all in this. Where's good fish?
No, I don't want to say what you want to tell this.
Thank you for keeping me from getting arrested. My family appreciates it.
I was worried about you last year, but.
I'll come out right at the end of the day. Keys and
Okay.
whatnot.
We'll see you.
brought us Allie and.
Yeah, I haven't, I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, you tell me everything, right? We'll talk.
Yeah.
The offer stands, please come visit, please. We got a house with 2 guest rooms, private suite with a bathroom, like, it's.
It's Beverly Hills. His house is Beverly
Please.
Hills. Seriously.
Please come visit.
Well, so I thought of something else, and I put it on the video, but, you know, last year, I guess it was you and Aaron, well, you all have been kind of looking for a couple of years, you know, searching and wanting to live abroad, and I just kind of felt in my spirit, I was like, Scott's gonna call me, and he's gonna, I always feel it, so if you're thinking about it, I'm like, I just have a sense, like, he's gonna call me and tell me, like, he's not gonna come back, and so I was trying to prepare myself and like what I would say, and you know, I was making notes like, what can I say to convince him, and, you know. And so he called, and I tried to remain calm, and I think I did pretty good on the phone when I talked to you, but I tell you, it was a struggle afterwards. It really was. I wish that people in teacher ed programs and any kind of teacher certification program could see, if they just knew what the end looks like, then they could hang on. You know? We've all had times and seasons when we're just like, we can't do it anymore, or I'm just tired of this, or I'm tired of that person, or I'm just tired. And I think, you know, for all of our journeys, you know, Scott's just a great example. If you just keep hanging in there, it gets better, you know, and I certainly don't do enough of, you know, just saying, you know, thanks for that. Or, you know, sometimes we don't say that enough to one another until the end, and then it's like, you know, you're hearing all these accolades, and so Scott, you've really taught me to try to do a better job at just saying thank you, or just I'm sorry, you know, whatever the words are at that moment, and not wait, or just have a thought about it and just say, well, you know, they know they're appreciated. Well, you know, no, sometimes people don't. We all need to hear that. We all need to feel that. And when I walked in that room this morning, I mean, I've always said that there are 2 things I know for sure. One, I can't ever say in the school because of separation between church and state. And the other one is that I feel so blessed to be able to be with children every single day. Like, that is just amazing to me that I even have the privilege of being with children every day. Like, and when I walked in that room, and literally, I mean, I was like, I was serious, like, are we charging admission? Like, I mean, it was packed, standing room only. Like, so what is going on? And the way those kids loved on you, Scott, and I mean, I could just see them married with kids talking about, you know, Mr. Bennett when I was in high school, and we got to find a school just like that because, you know, you got to have teachers, you got to have the Humphreys, Armstrong, the Buchanan, you know, on, and it just resonated with me, and I'll never forget that, because that's what we want every day. Despite all the bad, you know, that makes it worth it. And I was sitting there thinking, you know, I just pray that when I'm at the end, retire or whatever, that people have those same feelings about me. The kids are there. The Alex, I mean, literally, I saw Alex Hines, if y'all remember him, the Afro kid that wore the 60s clothes.
Briefly.
Yeah, I don't know.
We forgot about Alex, but yeah, Alex is
walked in first
He's a
period.
Hugh Fogg, and by the way, he did say he left because it was too hard. Hugh Fogg is definitely easier with AP classes. For the video! But this was like 5:30 last night, and he was like, yeah, I gotta get over there, Mr. Bennett. I said, well, tomorrow's the last day. You gotta come today. He was like, okay, well, I'll try to get there before school. He was here.
His mom.
And it's like, wow, would somebody get up an hour early to come see me? Probably not. But it reminded me that I've got a lot of reflecting to do for one, but just, this is really what it's all about. These lives. These kids remember this like we remember our years, and it's just, it's phenomenal, Scott, to be learning from your experience, as hard as it is. I'm glad you stayed an extra year. And wish you and the boys and Aaron all the best. Y'all have been really sweet to me, and it's been good getting to know you all just on a personal level. And send us pictures. I'll be on the email, scott.willie.bennett@gmail. So love you.
Thank you.
Thank you for agreeing to be Lord Voldemort. That was awesome. Awesome. Dr. Reese is like, all right, Rita.
I know. I feel the same way. Mia Lawrence keeps coming in to talk, and then she turns around and walks me back out again.
Oh God.
There's so many things that we could say, and I just can't get it together to say. But we really do thank you for everything. One of the things, we meet every week and decide what our academy needs, and no other academy does that. They have their academy meetings and that's it, but Scott is such an integral part of this, and anything we need, we always can go to him. And he's even helped with, we're gonna have a meeting with our juniors, and on Thursday during PLT, so put that on your calendar if you have juniors, DP juniors for Thursday, just to try to help the kids, help them be successful. So I think just even like Dr. Reese said on the last day, he's still thinking about what he can do to help these kids, and coming back, paying for a very large, hefty plane ticket. And the kids started a GoFundMe for this plane ticket, and he chipped in the rest of it and has already got the ticket, and so they're elated that he's coming back for their graduation. So the fact that they probably will actually come so they can be a part of this pizza party speaks volumes. So we know we'll still be in contact. That's
Yes.
that's the great thing.
Guest speaker via
Skype.
I was just gonna give you a pound. No,
See, this is what happens.
Waiting till the end.
When you come to the IB family part of this.
That's right.
IB business partner.
Look, we even have a seat for you. You fit right in.
But I don't have a heartfelt speech or anything. I saw Scott at the park one day, and he had his kids with him. From then, we haven't talked much, but every time that I see him, it's always, warm welcome, always a big, always been a good guy. Again, I'm not looking for a tearjerker right now. I just wanted to say, man, I really appreciate, you always being a smiling face in the hallway when I see you. I definitely support, you going, over there to Africa, and it's something that I always wanted to do just to see it, come on. I'm being recruited from all different angles right now. But man, I definitely applaud you for that, man. It's needed. I talk to one of my best friends is from Africa. He he always talks about the need for great teachers over there, so I think you're gonna do great over there.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Hands down, my favorite memory is me running down the hallway trying to make you recant that email that you sent.
Oh, I still forgot about that.
Sprinting down the hallway. Go.
I saw it from the other end. It was like, you know, at the end of Jerry Maguire when Ron Tidwell's on the ground and Maguire's running down there. And Patel comes around the corner and stiff arms a kid.
That's terrible.
Not one of my better days, but
What was the email about?
Anyway.
nothing. Nothing.
Like when people reply to all when they shouldn't.
When they shouldn't reply to all. I started using text after that.
But you're not just fighting for students, like you really fight for teachers, and in a climate where teachers are scared to speak up about anything, you do it.
You don't have the last
And
one
you-
to that here, no.
I remember.
So we appreciate you thinking about us,
Yeah.
and speaking on our behalfs so often.
Funny you said that, it just made me think Leighton is actually here observing our teacher.
Yeah.
You know, before you said that, I was thinking about, you know, Leighton's work and her passion for policy.
Yeah.
That was such a, when all you JT Moore teachers came over.
Wait, she was talking.
Oh, you're not done?
We even got a bayism on the video. No hiding it now. Like, these things
Well,
happen.
Shelley said, like, you, again, you're not just for the kids. And that was evident, and you were always speaking up when you felt that it was needed. And, yeah, totally appreciate that, and I respect the crap out of people who are like that. Because we need people like that. And hopefully you inspire your kids to be like that.
And now she's going.
Oh, I just,
You forgot.
I'm jaded and, whenever whenever the JT Moore teaches off came over, I mean, I think that probably led to losing collective eye rolls, you know, and like, with the new power vortex, led by Paul Beavers. He's sitting over my dad. And there was all eye rolls, and I was like, oh my God, here's this. I was in the end, I was in the inner circle, now I'm on the out. So Jason Moore, inner circle, power vortex. And, but, you know, I'll be honest, like, there was obviously some substance to all of that, because, I mean, you and Vossler, and I mean, it was really, you know, usually it's like, I guess the eye rolls weren't necessary, because you guys came in and really did do a good job of improving, raising the bar for everybody else. And that's important. It was like, you know, we lose so many good teachers, and all you guys come in, and hopefully it's like, I don't know, knowing we would replace you, and God, I hope we get a strong English teacher. We're gonna miss good English teachers are hard to come by.
Beavers, looks like you're up.
Oh, well, so I've been teaching with Scott for a very long time. And when he came to Moore, we didn't even talk for like, what, 2 years?
I invited you to the wedding.
I'll never forget that. So, but through an odd, bizarre twist of things, our crew ended up on the same team, and we were kind of shocked actually that they put us all on the same team. So was the rest of the building, and it was interesting because there was such a diversity of personalities that you would have thought we would have all killed each other. And it was the opposite. We all just kind of found our niche and found our role and didn't even have to think about it. It just kind of naturally happened. So that's really cool in any job situation where you're working with a bunch of people that you just organically, it just fits. And I know all of you have been in those situations, and it makes a huge difference. You don't have to force anything. So that was the big thing that kind of happened. And Scott, you all said a lot of the same things when I got in. I could hear it. I mean, he was always very much an independent thinker, which was great. Completely coming the opposite direction for me a lot of times, which I loved. Not necessarily that we disagreed, it was just a completely different direction. And I love that because it just opens me up to be able to just see from a different point of view. And he's an expert at that. And I think Amanda said he's an expert of making his kids and encouraging his kids and growing his kids to do that in his classroom. And he's always done it. I remember at Moore, he was always throwing books at kids. Okay. Not like throwing books, like, you'll love this, read this. You know, I think we threw erasers, we didn't throw books, but they don't leave a mark. But he was always listening to the kids. Like, we would all stand out in the hall in middle school. You've got to be there watching every little movement, but we could hear them. And so that's where he kind of was a sponge, and he took in those things, and he knew what the interest of the kids were, way more than I ever did. And so that was a huge plus for him. So I'm sure you've all said that very much relationship situation. And it wasn't just that they sat down and talked, he listened. And it was those little things, like he just heard them in a conversation. And he would go say, hey, try this book. He didn't tell them why he told them that. It just worked out that way. So as far as his leadership, I've seen that grow so much. His brain has changed so much since we were together at Moore, and his maturity and growth has been leaps and bounds. It's been amazing. And so that's what I want to see with him as he moves forward and you know, gets back to the States one day and all that. Is to see where that leadership goes, because that was just really starting to get going over, I think, the last couple of years, and he felt comfortable in that. He felt comfortable in that. So anyway, we're definitely going to miss him. He's awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.
I want to see you two hug so I can get a picture.
Because we're both huggers. His wife made my day today, by the way. She came in the building and she's like, I didn't recognize you. You were so skinny. I'm like, you're my new best friend. My new best friend.